There's a difference between something being complicated and something being complex. And it's still a bit fresh in my mind, but I might get a couple things wrong. So if you go back and listen to the episode, please do so. But he said complicated is like just what it says. Like there might be a lot of different things included in it, but it's all arriving at the same situation. You're trying to achieve one specific goal. I kind of use the analogy of like a rocket into space, where it's complicated. Like there's a lot of math, there's a lot of things you need to, do, but it all ends up in getting to one goal. Like we need to get this rocket off the ground and get through the Earth's atmosphere and go into space. And he said gymnastics is very much like that. It's a structured thing where it's like, as long as you follow the steps, yeah, it's going to be complicated. You need to practice it and need to figure it out over and over again, but eventually you're arriving at one specific solution. Where parkour is more complex, where it's the same thing. There's a lot of different things going on, but you can arrive at many different solutions. It might be more individualized. And he used the analogy of like playing chess, where I didn't know this, but like the amount of different ways that someone can win at a chess game, depending on how the moves go, is like 30 to the 64th power, something like that. Virtually, it's like about the same amount of ways to win chess as there are electrons in the universe. Like it's absolutely insane. When he talked about the amount of different ways that can go about. So that's complex because you can get to a lot of different answers. And he said that's what parkour is. It's like, because you don't know which way you're absolutely going to go. It's a lot more flow. There's some creative approach to it. So I related that immediately with structure versus intuition and training, where it's like gymnastics, it's very structured. It's like follow the path, follow the plan, and you're going to arrive at XYZ result. Where parkour is much more of trusting your own intuition. You have a gymnastics knowledge and background of all of the movements, but it's a lot more of the creative energy that's getting in there. So I thought that was a really cool distinction that he talked about. And in then speaking today, as I'm recording this today, I just got off with my good friend Pat Flynn, who has been on the podcast numerous times and one of my favorite people to talk to on the podcast. He runs an amazing podcast as well, the Pat Flynn Show, and he's been a writer and an author and a speaker in the fitness world as well as the philosophy world for a long time. And we were talking about that difference of structure and intuition. We've had this conversation many times. And I told him about when I failed at intuitive training with one of the biggest things that I wish I could have gone back and changed, but those failures, they come, with life. And that was a couple years ago when I said I opened up my new business, Breakthrough Secrets. I was starting a new podcast, all this different stuff. And I needed all my mental faculties to do all the things that I needed to from a business point of view. So training wise, didn't necessarily need to take a back seat. I wouldn't say that, but I couldn't follow a very structured, very aggressive based training program at that time. And that's when I really dove headfirst into intuitive training. I was doing it a little bit before, but this was when I trained every day for 6 months, and every day was a little bit different. And I was just trusting my intuition, trusting my awareness of it. And the benefits that I felt was unbelievable. I was still getting stronger. I was still getting leaner, like all the things that I would want from a physical perspective in training, I was still getting. And I was also leaving all the time to still have my mental energy to build a business, to put everything up there. So at that moment, I was like, oh, I found the secret sauce. Like it was a eureka moment. I found it. This is what I need to bring out to the world and to talk about more with everybody that comes to me. And I started diving into intuitive training with a lot of clients, a lot of brand new people that I was getting on. I was selling it hard, like, yeah, this is the way to go. And it sounds very exciting. It sounds very fun to go in, have that flexibility, have that trust your own intuition, have a plan without a plan, type mindset. Yeah, it's a very easy thing to sell into someone's mind. But then I ran into a problem where a lot of people that I was going into and having this intuitive approach to, they were getting overwhelmed. They didn't understand where it was going and they weren't following the plan. They didn't have the knowledge base and the structure behind it. And it might sound very self-evident, but it was another like moment in my head. I was like, okay, why did this work so well for me? This isn't working for other people.